Good Monday morning, friends. So we're gonna do another DIY this morning for the holidays, and I'm gonna actually show you these things right here. I found these at the Dollar Tree. They are called, I don't know what, they're like little crystals with an LED light, an LED tea light candle inside. And I've never seen these at the Dollar Tree before, and I was really kind of curious as to what they did. As you can see on the side of the box, it shows that the LED light changes color, and you kind of like put these crystals in like a little vase or jar, and it lights up all the crystals, which I thought was really cool. So I wanted to do a DIY revolved around this because, like I said, this was new. I hadn't seen these before. And so I did purchase quite a few of these packages, but I think I'm only going to use 2 in this one specific DIY that we're going to do. So these are the other supplies that we're going to need for this project. We're going to need some crafting paper, which I'm going to use this one right here. This is actually white with little specks of like silver in it. My color scheme this year throughout most of my holiday decor is white and silver. So I did also grab one of these 5x7 silver frame Dollar Tree frames. So I'm going to use that. I have 2 packages. I opened up one already. When you open it up, pull out, there's like a little protective piece of paper covering the battery. So you have to open this up and pull that little paper out for it to work again. So there you can see what it looks like opened. There's the battery right there. There's the little LED light. Just really simple. There's a little piece of paper just protecting this little battery. So just make sure you take that little piece of paper out, put the LED light back in the cap, and then you just screw it back on. And then once it's screwed into place, it will light up. I also grabbed 6 of these little mini snowflake ornaments in silver. And then these are actually Christmas tree gift tags in gold. And then I did have a few of these little gold bells, which these came from the Dollar Tree. I have a bunch of these that I purchased for another project that I'm going to do, but I just grabbed 4 of them because I thought that they would work well with my little Christmas trees. And so now basically what we're going to do is we're going to get started. Oh, one other thing. Foam board. What basically we're going to be doing is we're going to be making these little light up frames with like a scene, and we're going to be able to utilize this little light up LED tea light inside that frame. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to obviously take the wrapper off of this frame, and we're going to take the frame apart. So I'm just going to open up the back. I'm going to pull off the backer board. I'm going to pull out the insert. Also going to take out the glass because I'm going to use the glass to trace the size of the paper that I need. Now, we're basically going to be making a shadow box, and I have done tutorials on shadow boxes before, but we're going to kind of go through it again. So, like I said, I'm going to use this as kind of like a template to go by. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my glass down in the very corner of my, you can see right here, of my foam board. And I'm just going to go ahead and trace right around. All right, so I'm just going to take one of these little blade cutters, and I'm going to use this as a guide just to cut my piece out here. So I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to use it as a guide. The foam paper is pretty easy to cut. You just you want to do a couple scores. So I've got one side cut, and I'm going to cut the other side. And then I'm going to flip it over, and you can kind of see, I'm just going to run my blade on the back again, just so that I have a nice clean cut. There we go. So there is my foam piece that's the same size as my frame, because we're not going to actually put this inside the frame. We're actually just going to use strips of this to glue to the inside of the frame to give it that depth of a shadow box. So first of all, we are going to, you can measure if you'd like. I'm actually going to use this piece as a guide because I like the thickness of this frame. You can see you've got the inside outlined. Now again, I'm going to take my backer piece and use it as a guide. You can use a ruler, you can use whatever you have. I just like to use stuff that I have handy. And I'm going to line it up with that line that one of the lines that I just drew. Like this. And I'm going to just line it up and then score along that line. So one. I kind of fold that backwards. And then you can score the back again just to make it pop off easily. There you go. So there's one strip. We're going to do the same thing to that other side. Okay, so here is our frame. These two pieces right here are going to be glued on the longest sides of our frame, like so. Just so you can see, it's going to make a small little shadow box. But now what we want to do is we want to cut the same size strips that are going to fit on the top and bottom in between these two. So you've got that much thickness, so we've got to make sure that we deduct that much thickness from the bottom. We're going to use this again, and we're going to use this short side as a guide for our next two pieces. So I'm going to line that up right against the corner of the board that we still have. I'm going to make one line here and one line here. So if you see, I made a line here and a line down here. So when I pull this off, we're going to cut this right here. So that's going to be our length, and we're actually going to cut it a little bit shorter only because we need to have make up the difference of two of these put together. So you can kind of hold these together as a guide as well. Line it up with that line that you just drew to the inside of that line and draw another guideline to cut. All right, so there's another guideline. You can see that's an inside guideline. That is going to make up the difference of these two pieces right here. So let's cut that out. Okay. All right, so now this is the width that we're going to need. Now we've got that other line that we drew right here. We're going to, again, use our guide, and we're going to cut that piece out. That one popped off nicely. So now you can see we've got two long, and we're going to need one more short this same size. So I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to take my guide again, which is this. I'm going to line it up again with the corner. I'm going to line it up with the corner, and I'm going to trace just so I know I have the exact same size pieces. Right there, there's my trace line. Take my guide cutter, or my piece that I'm using as a guide, and cut one more. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we have two small pieces and two long pieces. Now, if you did all of your measuring and cutting correctly, which there really wasn't any measuring, it was just basically using this as a guide, all of these pieces should fit inside your frame pretty nicely. So we've got the long pieces, and you definitely want to make sure that they fit before you glue it down. So we've got the long pieces, and then we've got the short pieces, which should fit right down in between the other two. And this one fits perfectly. So that's what it should look like. All right, so I went ahead and just cleaned my glass off a little bit, because before we glue these into place, we are going to actually glue this glass into the frame. Now, you can go ahead and pull these little tabs out, They should come out pretty easily. They're just these the little tabs that hold all of the inner parts of the photo in place. I'm just gonna get my last piece out here. There we go. Okay, so now we've got just the frame. And I'm gonna take my glue and I'm going to do just a couple little dots. So now we have our glass glued into our frame. Now we're going to start gluing in our side extender pieces. I'm gonna start with the long ones first. And again, I'm just gonna run a bead of glue right along the inside of my frame. And then I'm gonna stick my styrofoam piece right down into that glue. Just kind of hold it in place until it sets. Do the same thing all the way around. All right, so we have our little side extender pieces glued into place. This is gonna raise our frame up and create the shadow box. So now we're going to work on the back portion or the background of the shadow box. Now, I'm gonna leave this on. I wasn't sure if I was gonna take it off or leave it on. I am gonna leave it on just in case. If you wanted to hang it on the wall, you could take this off. I'm actually thinking of putting little feet on mine so that mine actually stands up on like a table without it kind of like leaning back onto that stand. But I'm not gonna take the stand off just in case the feet don't work because I haven't really worked this through yet. But anyhow, I'm gonna use this back piece right here. And again, I'm gonna use this as a guide because I'm going to trace on my white paper that I have right here. I'm gonna trace the size of this back plate or the size of this cardboard backer. Right onto my paper. I'm gonna line it up with the paper, and then I'm going to trace. Okay, so there is my piece that I'm gonna cut out and do a nice straight cut. It's actually nice and straight. It's much straighter than cutting by hand, and I think it's faster. So there we go. So now we have our piece that is the same size as our backer plate. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this right on to the backer plate. So there is our back plate. Okay, so what our next step is gonna be is I'm actually gonna use 2 of these little LED lights. And I turned them both on to make sure that they were working. So I've got 2 of them right here. But now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna need to make a spot for them to go. I don't wanna put them on the inside of the frame only because I wanna be able to turn them on and off. So I'm gonna put them on the outside, but in order to put them on the outside, I'm gonna need to cut 2 little notches like this in the very bottom. I'm gonna do one on one side and one on the other, and this is gonna be the spot where the little light is going to be able to shine through the bottom of the frame. And I kind of held my little light up next to my foam, and I just made 2 little marks so that I know where I'm cutting. And then I just went ahead and just cut out a small little notch with my cutting tool. It doesn't have to be very big at all. Like I said, just big enough for that little light to pop through. All right, so there is our 2 little notches like that. Now we're also going to need to make 2 little notches in our backer board, just like this as well. So I'm going to use this as a guide. I'm going to line my backer board up to my frame. And you can see 1 notch I've already cut out. I've cut just a small little notch in the back of that backer board. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can use a little pen as a guide for like guidelines so you know what to cut. Just like that. So now we have 2 little notches, and they should line up with the 2 little notches on the back or the bottom side of our shadow box. I am actually going to use these cute little, they're actually little Christmas tree gift tags. So I am going to glue a few of these on my paper, and I'm gonna just kind of scatter them. I'm not really sure where they're gonna go. I was thinking of just scattering a few on the front, like such. Take a little bit of hot glue. Once I know where I want them, I'm gonna just put a couple dots of hot glue on and kind of just secure them in place. Okay, so there's my 4 little sparkly Christmas trees. I'm gonna glue these little gold balls or gold bells right to the top of each one of the trees, just to cover up that little hole here. All right, so there is our little Christmas trees, little Jingle Bell Christmas trees. They're just these little silver ornaments, silver sparkly ornaments. They're on a little hang tag. I'm not gonna use the hang tag. I'm just gonna cut the little hang tag right off. And I think I'm going to just glue these right on the back as well. So just a couple little dots of glue. And I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna keep mine pretty simple, as you can see. I'm going to take all of these little crystals that came in that package with the little LED lights, and I'm going to kind of just put them right down inside the glass. Right down inside the glass. Like this. So you can see they're just down inside that glass, or inside that top frame piece. I'm not gluing them, I'm just literally pouring them in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and glue this backer board in place. And before I do, I just wanna double check and see what it looks like. So that's what it looks like with all the little crystals. It looks like snow. And you can, you know, move them around a little here or there. If you want more on one side than the other, you can kind of just move them back and forth, just like that. So I like how it looks, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. All right, so this is what we've got right now. You can see that's what we've got. Okay, now before I put the little lights in place, I'm gonna take 4 more of these little snowflake ornaments. I'm gonna take them right off of the hangers again. I am going to glue 2 in the front and on one corner. So let me use a little bit of my hot glue. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue, 1 on either side, and I'm going to glue that right down on the front of my frame so that we have this little snowflake with these 2 feet sticking down. Okay, so we're gonna do this on one corner like that. We're gonna do the same exact thing on the other corner. We're gonna glue those little feet down, or glue those little snowflakes to the corner. And make sure those feet are pointing down, or those 2 little bottom portions of the snowflake are pointing down, just like that. And then we're gonna flip our little shadow box over, and we are going to use our other 2 feet, and we're gonna do the same thing, but this time we're gonna put the glue on the top 2 little pieces of the snowflake. So we've got them on the top 2, and we're gonna place those top 2 right on the corner. Right on the corner, so that way, if you see, they're gonna line up evenly. So those little feet are gonna line up evenly and make like a little stand. All right, so now our little shadow box should stand up nice and sturdy on those feet without needing this backer piece on it. Like I said, I kept my backer piece on. I didn't know how sturdy it was gonna be, but it looks like it's pretty sturdy, so I don't think I need to have that on. I'm probably going to just pop it on. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna do the last step. We are going to glue these little lights in place. So remember that little spot on the bottom where we had our, little spot on the bottom where we had our little notches. what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of hot glue on one side of the top of the light. So just like that, one side of the top, and that hot glue is going to stick to the foam. It's gonna stick to the foam. I'm gonna turn the light on so that way I'm making sure that, okay, so there, that's what it looks like. It's gonna stick to the foam, if you can see it right there. Okay, but now the bottom is still free to turn it on and off. And that's kind of also why I wanted to have the little feet as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. So again, here's my little crystals sitting on the feet. There you go, and it's lit up. It's kind of hard to see it lit up with the lights on, but let's shut the lights off and see how it looks when it's all done. All right, guys, so here it is. I'm not gonna keep it in here, but this is the darkest area of my house, so you can actually see the lights changing color in the bottom of this cute little shadow box. I think it came out really, really cute, really different. You could put this in an area where you don't have any other like Christmas lights or Christmas decorations, just to give it a little festive kind of holiday feel. I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and be on the lookout for my home tour coming up this week, as well as I think I'm gonna try to do 1 or 2 more holiday DIYs. Again, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.